Hi, welcome to Low Carb Me and You. I'm Alexander, and today we're smoking some delicious, juicy whole chicken. Smoking chicken is as easy as oven roasting. It's just slightly more work, as you have to work your smoker. But it's so worth the effort. Smoking the chicken the right way adds that fantastic smokiness and it makes the juiciest chicken you've ever seen. We don't need a lot of ingredients. A nice whole chicken, salt and pepper. You can fancy this up any way you'd like, but keeping it simple is the best way for smoking. We want that typical smoky flavor to shine. We're going to give the chicken a good dry rub with the salt and pepper. Feel free to be generous. The salt will not only add flavor, but it'll also help get a nice crispy skin. Make sure you get it all over and use your hands to really push it into the meat so it'll stick. And don't waste any of the salt and pepper on your cutting board. Just roll or dip your chicken into it to get it all. As I said, you can add any flavors you like. Add some chili powder for a bit of spice, some garlic or onion powder for a bit of a baseline palate, or anything else you feel like. To me, there are only two rules to a good rub, aside from great taste obviously. 1. When smoking, only use a dry rub with powdered ingredients. Fresh ingredients like garlic, fresh herbs, and similar ingredients tend to dry out and possibly even burn. If you'd like to add those, you can baste the chicken after the first hour of smoking. Which brings me to rule number 2. Don't use marinades or wet rubs when smoking. These are great for roasting or grilling chicken, but it adds a layer to the chicken that prevents the smoke from penetrating the chicken. And that's the whole point of all of this effort. We want that smoke to get in as deep as possible. Once you've rubbed your chicken good, you can set it aside. No need to refrigerate it, just put it somewhere where your dogs or cats can't run off with it. It's time to prepare the smoker. As I mentioned in my smoked bacon video, I prefer working with charcoal, but anything goes really. I do want to talk about charcoal for a second though. I had to work with inferior charcoal this time around, and it frustrated me so much that I wanted to impart a bit of knowledge on this topic. Make sure you get good quality coals. So how do you know whether you have good quality coals? There are several visual indicators, aside from the price tag and whatever the packaging says. Good charcoal has large chunks. If you've got yourself a bag full of small bits, with the biggest barely larger than a thumb, you've got the wrong one. Small coals burn fast. Once they're hot, they're almost gone. Larger chunks, about fist size, are great. They have a longer burn time, which is what you're looking for. The second visual cue is that there are bits of coal which still look like regular wood, which means that your coals have varying degrees of purity. Different degrees of purity mean you don't control the burn properly. And lastly, if you see bits of coal that look like they've been made from man-made wooden materials, like a broomstick, then the wood used to make the charcoal is just cheap leftover wood. And cheap wood generally means soft wood, which burns faster. The key factor for smoking is always temperature control. So if you have coals that match these criteria, be prepared to really keep an eye on your burn. The rest of the smoking setup is as simple as adding a bowl of water to keep the chicken hydrated, and it helps getting a nicer crispy skin later on. Preheat your smoker to about 90 degrees Celsius or 200 Fahrenheit. Add your wood, I'm using beech, and then add the chicken. We're going for a nice low temperature smoke for the first 45 minutes. With your chicken off to do its thing, we're going to make a nice little dip to go with it. We'll need some Greek yogurt, fresh herbs, dill and chives, a bunch of garlic, lemon juice, oil and salt. Now I know that this is a low carb channel, and that amount of garlic doesn't seem to fit with that. Don't worry, we have a solution. Infusion. We're going to infuse the oil with the garlic flavor, and then remove the garlic itself. That way you get all of the flavor and none of the carbs. Just crush and coarsely chop your garlic, skin and all. We want some bits for the infusion, but it doesn't have to be crushed as it would burn quickly. Then add the oil and garlic to a pan and put it on medium heat. We want to fry the garlic gently so that it can release its aromatics. We're not aiming for a deep fry. This will take 5 to 10 minutes. Longer means a stronger garlic flavor. Just look for little frying bubbles to see if you have the temperature right. Make sure not to burn the garlic, as that brings an awful taste to the infusion. When you're done with the fry, you can set it aside to cool down. You can strain it right away to stop the infusion process, or let it in while it cools. All up to you. While the garlic cools down, we're going to work on the rest of the dip. Start with the fresh herbs. Clean the dill by removing the stems. Nobody likes a branch in their dip. Then finally mince the dill. You can use dried dill, but it imparts less flavor, so add a bit more. Then we're cutting the chives. Nice, small, manageable pieces will do. You can also mince this, but this way it adds a bit of variety to the texture. The dill and chives add some mild, fresh flavors that go well with the intensity of the garlic. Cutting done, time to mix it up. Add your yogurt to a large bowl. Add the salt, lemon juice, dill, and chives, and mix well. The bit of lemon juice will help balance out the richness of the dip. When it's all combined, it's time to add the garlic infusion, which should be at room temperature. Strain it over the bowl to remove the garlic, and mix it well. Once it's all combined, you can put it in the fridge until serving time. A big advantage to the infusion is that the garlic flavor won't develop over time, so it will not be overpowering. You can adjust the taste and be confident it'll stay that way. When your chicken has smoked for 45 minutes, it's time to crank up the heat. We're going to get the chicken done in about an hour to an hour and a half at high temperature. I prefer to go for almost 230 degrees Celsius or 450 Fahrenheit. The high heat will reduce the cook time and create a crispier skin. But if you prefer a softer skin, you can go for 175 Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit. You'll have to adjust the cook time depending on your temperature. I've also moved the chicken to the hottest area in my smoker, so I get the most out of the temperature. It's time to serve when the chicken has an internal temperature of 74 degrees Celsius or 165 Fahrenheit. Make sure to properly check the temperature, as there might be an uneven cook depending on the way the chicken's been strung or the airflow of your smoker. No one wants undercooked chicken. Get your chicken out of the smoker and let it rest. Just like any other protein, you'd want to rest your chicken to help settle the juices. It'll also make it easier to handle the chicken for carving. While it rests, get your dip ready to serve. Just give it a good stir before putting it in a bowl. You can serve the chicken with a nice salad, low-carb bread, or just have it like this. Either way, it'll taste fantastic. It's a bit harder to say how many servings you get from the chicken, but from one like this, 1.3 kilograms or 3 pounds, you get about 4 servings. The nutritional value is averaged for the entire chicken, so keep in mind there are fattier and leaner parts. Per 100 grams of chicken, there are no carbs, 27 grams of protein, 13 grams of fat, and about 238 calories. The nutrition for the garlic-infused dip is per 100 grams as well. 3 grams of carbs, 3 grams of protein, 26 grams of fat, and about 266 calories. Thank you for watching this smoky adventure. Please like, subscribe, and watch some more recipes. Stay cooking, stay low carb, and let your taste buds dance with delight.